Warning, this show contains adult language. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. If you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. And living life on your own terms is, this is episode 274, and this is DIY Life. Own your life rant. I have a couple of notes here, but I usually write these shows off thoughts that happen or occurrences, things that I run into every once in a while in life, or just some thoughts. And one of the thoughts is just noticing, talking to neighbors and things like that, just noticing how unhappy people are with their jobs and pretty much their life. If somebody was happy, and was truly happy, grounded in themselves, was doing something they semi-like, making enough money, everything's going good, They should be relatively happy, patient, very considerate, but I notice a lot of people are not. And I think that we need to turn this around. So that's kind of the things that I want to talk about today, and just the possibilities and positivities, right? So let's jump right into the first one. No one knows you. And this is a positive. A lot of people say, well, I don't feel like people know me. Or, you know what? Most individuals don't even know themselves, let alone someone. And how difficult would it be to have somebody actually know you? Nobody really knows what's going on in your head. You've got a lot of different things, of little voices in your head saying why you can't be this or do that. And you have a lot of inspirations and a lot of insights of things. I think a lot of people, as I like to preach on the show, they give too much shits what people think of them. So a lot of people are very guarded. And in our society, I think, for myself, all these are just my opinions, is that from childhood, from public education, school, and just, cousins and friends and stuff like that, you get picked on, basically. You try to make a bow and arrow, but you're a retard and you didn't make it very good. It snapped in half and all your friends are laughing at you. It made you feel like shit. There's all those little things that happen inside your life that you carry around inside your head, and you're very guarded. So it's very difficult, I think, for anybody to know you. And I think, what if we did know everybody? What if we know that we knew everything? Life would be pretty boring. So it's kind of fun and a challenge, I think, for individuals to accept that, I don't think anybody knows me. And in fact, I don't even know me. And on that note, what if life was about challenging yourself and new adventures all the time? It's the unknown, right? We have the known, and what happens when we get the known, right? You get the same dick or you get the same cookies and all your shit, you get bored of it. It doesn't matter. It's C's candies, right? I'm fucking sick of it. I need a new wife. I need a new life. I need whatever. We're constantly getting bored. I know myself, and it's just one of those observations I look at as when people carry around sadness and depression, and not necessarily depression, but just not happy in life because there's no fulfillment. And I think that maybe possibly we're looking at this from the wrong angle. So I'm just ecstatic, every once in a while, this year, I don't know why, but every once in a while, this year's heavy. But I'll take a look at my life and I'll go, you know what? It doesn't really suck that bad, especially when I start talking to other people, and we start rumbling on about the price of everything's going up and what's going on with your job and how's your kid and this and that. And, relatively things go pretty good, right? I'm pretty happy. And I think it's because of the way I've designed my life. And I look at that and I want each individual to have that. I want my children to have that. And I guess, a lot of these shows, I hope, this sort of language, this sort of dialogue, I don't think it's not for everybody, but I hope that my kids one day will look at these things and, listen to the words I say and say, maybe, maybe I can change things around. Maybe I should get to know myself a little better. So no one knows you, and that's a positive. And there's no there to get to. This is also a positive. So life is not about the destination. I love that saying. Life is about the journey, to enjoy the journey. And as I talked about, I think a lot of things in life are backwards. And if we expressed more energy and interest in the journey, what is it? Someone just told me on my farm, or the owner of the property, I said, well, I know all this stuff looks a little weird. We're doing some major experimentation, right? And that's kind of what fueled the show, by the way. I'll just crack off a piece here, is that I looked and I was like, when I was a kid, I used to like pee in bottles or grab like swamp water and just make weird concoctions and stuff and leave them out like on this little wooden shelf thing in my fort, and I just want to see what they look like, you know, watch food rot and things and like dead birds and just weird, like what is going on? What is all this, you know? And I always had this crazy curiosity with nature. I'd love to see animals up close and like hunt them with my eyes, just see them. Like when a feather, just you start stroking a feather or watching the fish at the bottom of a stream, it just fascinated me. Now I look at I'm a child with money who's able to do crazy things like big old giant gardening experiments and things like that. So it's just a lot of fun. The child has never died. I think we all have, as I love to tell my children, we all have wonderment. Don't let your magic be murdered. Don't let them kill your curiosity, because that's kind of what we're looking at here, I think. You know, why is it that we have so many people who are troubled? And why is it that we have people seeking gurus and psychiatrists and all these kind of things? And the whole message, the whole trail is all the same. That sounds like a pretty good lucrative business to me. You come in asking somebody for help, and instead of somebody saying, well, why don't you get your perspective straight, and why don't we just take a look at life? You know, there's nothing that's certain. Nobody knows anybody. You feel that nobody knows you, right? But you don't know other people. Maybe you don't know yourself. Maybe you should get to know yourself. Maybe we should do, what are some things that we can do? I want to talk about that a little later on, how we can gain love and joy back in our lives, how I think. So it sounds like a pretty lucrative business for, it's basically, here kitty kitty, as Alan Watts likes to say, or used to like to say, he's dead now. You know, here kitty kitty, you know, you distract, you throw a little shiny object, you know, and people go after it, and they just keep sitting. I like one of the stories was a monk, I believe it was just sitting in the mud, right? And the guru kept asking him questions, just like the words of Jesus. If you read the King James Bible, it's all in red. You could hear everything. It was the answers with a question. So the student tells the master, "No, I think I'm done. I don't want to sit in this mud anymore. How long do I have to?" And then the master, of course, says, "Well, how long do you think you have to?" He's like, "Until I get enlightenment." He's like, "Well, I guess so, right? This is what's going to get it." Until, the moral of the story, to cut it short, until the student actually gets up and goes, "What the fuck is this bullshit? I'm done with this. I don't need it. I have enlightenment. I know what I'm doing. I know me, and I know I don't want to be doing this anymore." And then the genius of it was just a simple question back of, "Well, do you feel confident in yourself and you're ready to move on?" You know? "Yes." "Then move on." You know, sometimes it takes drastic measures like this. So, yeah, the journey is what I look at. We always want a final destination, and unfortunately the final destination is something I don't think that you're right now in our mental states that you probably appreciate right here, right now. I bet you there's a lot of stuff you'd like to do first. So it's a continuing journey. And as I said, the uncertainty of everything, not just this economy and all this crap everywhere, everything going on, this craziness. It's just nature. Everything just becomes uncertain. Everything gets wild. Everything's always changing. I mean, our solar system dips into an asteroid field every 6 months. You know, that's some freaky shit. So we should be happy that we're alive. We should be happy that we're breathing and that we have joy and we actually have sunshine on us and all kinds of goodness that life has to offer. Instead, I think we all focus on a lot of the bullshit mundane stuff that's out there. Oh, okay, so the meaning and origins of sheeple I was just talking about, according to muah. I can't help but to see, I bash everything all the time, but just the institutions that we have around us, you know, the way we're being raised by teachers and societal pressures and things like that. And a lot of people call them the sheeple. And that's what the sheeple, I think, are where they derive from. These systems, I think it's no longer, for myself anyways, and I hate to sound like one of these people, like a conspiracy theorist, but I no longer feel that way for me. I really 100% believe that the systems that be, through all of the information and over-information and things that are drenching our society and have been drenching them, has shaped them mentally. There's a movie called Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger, if anybody's ever seen it. And there's the guy who played Darth Vader, I think. And in the movie, you know, the villain tells somebody, I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, the barbarian, tells him the words are far more powerful than the steel. Steel isn't shit. And there's this woman standing up on top, these people standing on top of this cliff, dressed in white tunics, weird fucking cultist shit. And he just says, "Come, my darling, come." And she jumps off the fucking cliff down to her death. And he's like, "That's power." And I was just like, whoa, what the fuck? It was that little part of that movie was like, wow, man, it fucking blew my mind. But one of the things I look at is I speak a lot on the show about getting your mental straight, getting your mentality and everything, your viewpoints, your perspectives. I think the powers that be through commercials, public education, a lot of religion and things like that have mastered this art of shaping people into, by their minds. No prisons, no gun to anybody's head, no none of that stuff. They've perfectly shaped people into believing that they are trapped. Or the mousetrap, the cheese on the mousetrap to me is the convenience, right? The predictability. So remember we talked about there's nothing that is predictable, the uncertainty and everything in this world, but goddamn, some things in American culture, I know we got listeners all over the world, some things are pretty certain, or pretty comfortable and pretty predictable, right? The temperature in your home, we have all of these conveniences that in my book are killing us, right? It's killing us because we have vitamin D deficiencies. People need to get outside more, but what do? They sit in their homes while the home's completely regulated for temperature. They even got dust cleaners in there and things like that. So people are completely removed from nature. They're removed from the nature of themselves. And then they're constantly being whipped in the eyes with commercials and the way life should be, not the way, the way life ought to be, and not the way life really fucking is. So to me, that's a fucking fact no, seriously, I guess a lot of people are weak and they're scared and they're tired. And you take that predictability away and things get jumbled up like we have, and people don't know what to do with themselves. They've never measured themselves. They've never pushed themselves forward. And so what we have is a lot of depression. We have a lot of people seeking psychiatric help and gurus and things like that, wondering if I even do I have a soul, is like what's going on? And it's ridiculous. If you just slow down and you started doing things that make you happy in your life. I mean, you got to be a robot, guys. If you go down into the forest or even your backyard, start gardening, start sticking your bare feet in the soil and your hands in the soil, or dip them inside of the ocean water or stream and just close your eyes and take a deep breath. Go lay in the grass at nighttime and just stare at the stars. Even if you live in a fucked up place like I do in Sunnyside, California, in North County, San Diego, where you only get like maybe the Big Dipper and Orion, and that's it, maybe a few stars. It's still fascinating. It's still beautiful. Stare up at the clouds and go out there and find things. That's what I look at. The way home for people, in my opinion, is to start practicing things you like. That's what I'm noticing, is that a lot of people in life will get through school, right? You're raised by your parents. You go to kindergarten, you go to grade school, then you possibly go to college, if you're so-called lucky, or you're unlucky in my book. And you go try to make something of yourself. And what do? Most people will go after things that make money. I'm not saying my life is perfect, because I know, I like to beat the shit out of my fucking self. I do mostly roofing construction. I make a shit ton of good money. I hate my fucking job. But you know what I love is the freedom. It's a start and finish job. I can quit anytime I fucking want. I can make as much money as I want and then just stop working, right? I don't have to do a 9 to 5. It's not fixed, right? It's a variable. But it affords me my freedom, and it affords me to do things like where I'm going right now, to do experimentations on my farm. So what I look at is for people, if anybody would listen to me, especially my children, and especially those of you who are feeling like shit, like you're trapped, is that there's plenty of things in life that you don't need education for. You need to get educated. You need to read books and stuff like that, watch videos, but there's tons of information for free. This is the best time in human history in my book. But as far as information goes, how-to videos, how to fucking skin a squirrel, how to identify mushrooms, how to build a desk, how to fucking repair a TV, how to make a bow and arrow, you got everything at your fucking fingertips, right? And I just think that people get cemented into after money, basically. So they look and go, well, it pays the bills. And then 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, they were doing a job with people they don't necessarily like, doing a task that they in all probability, probably fucking hate. When I look at a lot of people, it sounds like they're pretty fucking disturbed. Like they are not liking where their shit's going. And I just would ask, people to find themselves and find the courage inside themselves to go seek out new things. Find things that you love to do. Not not that you're, I sort of, and it's very simple, people. Just like this show. I was going to quit this show, but, I figured, I love doing it. I love it. It's like an outlet, and I don't know what it is. I just love doing podcasts. And even though I'm paying to be here, I don't mind. But it's easy for me to do this show, to get up at extra early in the morning, and start writing out some show notes and to think, well, what am I going to do today? So the point I want to make is that if you find something that you love doing, you will come home from work. You will be tired, but it'll automatically go right out the door, because if you're into something, and I've done this before myself, roofing construction in the middle of summer, guys, hotter than hell, 100 degrees, it's probably 125 degrees up on the roof. It'll kill most people. I got home when I was building aquaponics systems, and I didn't even drink my cold beer. I left it there on the post getting warm, and I was in there fidgeting with stuff until it got dark. It was an eye-opener for me, because I kind of snitched on myself. The mindset, as I spoke about earlier, is so fucking powerful that when you find something that you love doing, you don't even want to go to bed, right? And that's what brings the joy in your heart and the joy in your mind, and it will bring you into to live a very full, good life. It's very simple, as I say. You'll want to get up and do it. And I know a lot of people are confused because, their mentalities and their curiosity's been beaten down so fucking far. It's very simple. It's like a relationship. You get in a relationship, it's either good, you like the people, or you don't. The other person, you can't wait the next day or a year, 2 years later, you're like, I cannot wait to meet with that person. Or a bathtub, it's very simple. It's either warm or cold. You get in, the warm. It's when you find something you love, you just got to keep looking for it, and you got to keep experimenting. And I wanted to say the owner of the property, I forgot, I messed up earlier. I jump around too much and I get too fucking excited. He told me that Edison said he didn't fail 1,000 times. He just tried 1,000 things and figured out what not to do. There's no such thing as failure. We've talked about that before on this show. I want to leave you guys with a word from, I think, somebody who is very, very troubled and needs some help. Check out Sadhguru. Check out Sadhguru. There's a lot of other people, but I really love this saying, one of his quotes that'll go perfectly with the show for today. And what Sadhguru said is that unintelligent, stupid people, basically, will do things that they don't like, right? Constantly. Smart people will do things that they don't like for a profit, right? Because they can make some money, there's something they can get out of it. A genius will do what is necessary happily and joyfully. So that when I tear this down, what does this mean to me? Stupid people continue to keep doing things that they just don't like, that they despise, and they're unhappy, and they just keep doing it. That's not good. Smart people are like, oh, well, I could go make this money, and I can capitalize on these things. I don't like the job or anything like that. It doesn't bring me fulfillment, but it makes me a lot of cash. That's a smart person. A genius, and I don't consider myself a genius one fucking bit, but a person who's, I'd like to say, enlightened and open, who's had dialogue with themselves, who knows themselves, will look at the things that are necessary, that need to be done. We have things in life, I think, like dishes and taxes and work on ourselves. The biggest debt I think that we're in is that we're in debt to ourselves. We need to get our own empowerment back, our own enlightenment back. And we need to stop looking at the fucking flashes that are out there, all the shit that's designed to distract you and take away the power that you have, your mentality and everything, and put these things in your head that you can't do anything. You are a loser. You need the government to help you. You need police to protect you. You need us to grow your food. You need us to breathe and deliver your babies. And we've been doing as human beings for millions and millions of years. And if you guys have ever experienced having a fire, sitting around camping with people and the joy that you feel, or just sitting around with a big group of family, I'm sure you guys all have. And if you've sat around people who aren't your family and you just met friends and you were laughing, we were doing things under the stars or the sun, you know, in a big giant group outdoors. I don't know why it always has to be outdoors. It doesn't have to be. It could be indoors. But the feeling that you get, the warmth. So there's much more to life than TikTok and fucking YouTube and, you know, Facebook and all these fuck little fucking apps and shit like that. And also the words that are coming out, the fear mongers out there trying to, on the news and everything, and media is trying to freak us all the fuck out to keep us in line, right? The sheeple. Well, guess what? We are not sheeple. We are special people. We are special individuals if we so choose to be. We need to do that work on ourselves. We need to know that there is things that we need to do joyfully, right? Do them. These are things that you'll have to take a shit. Wipe your ass properly, right? You're going to have to cook. You're going to have to clean. I hate doing these things, but you know what? Turn it around and do these things joyfully, and you will look at these things. Make your house a kingdom of your kingdom the way you want it, right? And metaphorically speaking, your house, I visualize not just your physical house, do that as well, but the house of your soul, right? Your body and the house of your world. This is your world, all of our worlds. We all belong. There's no nook and cranny that we don't belong in. Even though they fucking fenced it off and said no trespassing, go fuck yourselves. We all have a human right to every inch of this land. We are the land, right? So all the necessary things, do these things joyfully, switch your mindset around and start looking at life. Once you get the things that are necessary done and you start organizing your life and being happy and having that dialogue with yourself, things start to present themselves. And if you can find something that you love to do and you're able to monetize it, you will live, you will never need to retire. You will never have to worry about investing in stocks and things like that, because a lot of these things are unreal. A lot of people who retire, they go crazy. They can't sit and do nothing. They start volunteering doing work. I've met a lot of them, very wealthy fucking people. Do yourself a fucking favor. Don't listen to a bald-headed Russian fucking bearded beauty like a beer belly, whatever, butthead like me. Go out there yourself. Go introduce yourself. You know, start meeting people who are retired and ask them questions. Go to an old age home. You know, you want to see life. You want to hear some good advice. You want to feel, you want an awakening. Go talk to people in an old age home. It will do you wonders, and they would love to have you there. Not every one of them. There's some fucking really cranky motherfuckers. I think they just had it too bad. But yeah, go out there and listen to what these people have to say. And maybe that might wake you up to go, you know what, life isn't that bad. And maybe you can learn a few things, you know, as far as enlightenment and as far as, like I was saying, a lot of people, it's human nature. We all have to keep doing some. So why not do the things that are necessary joyfully, happily, and find the things you love and live the best, fullest life you can have. That's the show, guys. You know what to do. Everything's at the bottom. Message me. Give me a thumbs up, middle finger, thumbs down, whatever. And go out there and have yourself a near life experience, my friends. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.